Grow Great is a city government leadership podcast with Lisa Norris and me, Randy Cantrell. Each week we share insights, experiences, and wisdom to help you and your leadership grow great. Our website is growgreat.com. Change and disruption and unexpected surprises, and even expected surprises, if there is such a thing. These are common to all of us, and there have been some big changes over in Grand Prairie, and so I thought we'd update the crowd a little bit, let them know what's going on with you in Grand Prairie, and weave our stories as we are wont to do about leadership. So let's hear it. Let's hear it. We're not even 48 hours into this, are we?
48 hours in. We have fairly unexpected. It was good news. I had been offered. We had actually our former city manager, Steve Dye, decided to pursue his passion is policing. He went to pursue that, loves policing. And so we have our deputy city manager, Bill Hills, took over. I've worked with him for all of my 27 years here at the city. He had moved into the city manager's office, became city manager back in middle of August, met with me, I don't know, a couple weeks later, and was talking about he needed my help on some org changes, and presented those org changes to me, and I was one of them. And so I said, what?
Wait a minute, what?
But yeah, what? I'm certainly glad to help him, but even more excited. We've all talked about for a long time, Randy, pursuing goals, setting goals, and making sure you're taking steps toward them. Because just like me, you never know when that opportunity is going to present itself. And I certainly didn't know any of this was going to happen, was potential to happen. And I'm thrilled. So I've been promoted to what they've defined as a managing director. So I've got 4 directors under me, kind of might be equated to like a super director, maybe similar to an ACM level, but beneath, because we already have a city manager and then deputy city manager. And now we have managing directors under them with 4 direct reports. So it's going to help spread the load for everybody. And it's exciting, but it's change, and it's great. I'm still doing HR right now. We are actively getting an HR director in that's a known source, but glad to have that person come in that's got tenure and understands city business, all that good stuff. But for me, I'm now having to on hour like 26.
Yeah.
Setting time to meet with directors. So it's an exciting change. I hope for everybody listening, it's just one of those things like we've talked about. You and I have optimism, Randy. You never know when a change is going to happen. And I think the important lesson for all of us that we've been trying to instruct is you have to be the best you can be all the time, because of these very things. You just don't know what life holds for you next. It's something that I've been working towards, and I'm very, very, very grateful to our new city manager for recognizing an opportunity for me that he felt I could serve well and just providing it to me. And now I've got to prove it that he made the right decision. So I'm really excited about that. That's what's happened here for all our listeners that have been following us for this year plus, and our goal and our personal goals. Besides moving into our new house in Oklahoma, I've got a new job now. So I'm working to make sure I do a good job at that and setting time to meet with directors, et cetera.
One of the things that came up, bubbled to the surface for me as I was, kind of behind the scenes with you, just you sharing the journey. I mean, I have no part in this at all. It's all, Grand Prairie and Lisa and her team, as well as her.
So he says he's been a big part of this
and her leadership. Well, no, listen, you've done the work, but my focus was on, who, because in the conversations that I have, everybody wants to fixate on how am I going to get that promotion? Or how am I going to solve this problem? Or how am I going to take advantage of this opportunity, or how can I maximize opportunities? And I think if we can change and shift the conversation, even in our head, of who, so Bill's in a position where he's restructuring and he's changing the culture in Grand Prairie. To be clear, as an outsider, is super high performing, super customer service oriented, and has been as long as Lisa's been there. Going back to Tom Hart, kind of the original, the OG of the culture there in Grand
Yes.
Prairie. And so I'm sure Bill, and I've had no conversations with Bill, but I've dealt with enough top level leaders. It's like, okay, who can I surround myself with so that we can up our game even more, so that we can be as high performing as we can be. And Lisa's work ethic and Lisa's reputation, Lisa's influence, Lisa's leadership, and her own high performance, as well as her team, I'm sure played a pivotal role. We tell people all the time, and you've probably heard us say it here, it's grow where you're planted. Do a great job where you are. Excel where you are. If where you are isn't where you want to be, the best way to get to where you want to go is excel where you are.
Right.
Just do the very best that you can. Help as many people as you can help. Don't burn bridges. Don't burn people. Be a good human and do great work and help other people do great work. I mean, for me, that's the elephant in this room, watching this from this really safe distance, to watch your career. So kudos, congrats. I'm proud
you
of
so
you,
much.
proud of your team, proud of the whole CMO. I mean, these are pretty spectacular people, in my book. So.
Well, I really appreciate that. I wanna first say there's so many parts to this when you look back, in just helping our audience. Not, of course, how me, I don't like the focus to be on me. Truly, the leadership, I think what serves value here is that the focus is always on others. Like you said, it's so easy to say, how do I get, how do I do, and really, in my career, it's never been about me specific. In other words, I deserve, or I'm owed, or I need this. It's about how to best, like you said, serve others. Just through your actions and your willingness, the things that we've talked about, the attitude, being the best me I can be for the city and for the city's benefit, for my team's benefit. It is always about the ones you are serving. And if you do that well, it will shine through. Now, it may take time. Again, as I was open about in these podcasts about my desire to become an ACM type, a DCM type, it was never an expectation. It was a goal. And so every action I took was trying to be the best version of a leader that I could be for my team and for this city. And I think that's what's important. And I don't want to discredit. So much of my success is not, it is because of what I've done, right? But so much of it is by the people you're surrounded with. And that's a big lesson here, because Randy, I've got the Cheryls around me, my deputy city manager, who believed on me, who connected me with you, right? You, whether you admit it or not, as an executive coach, the value you have brought to me to become better has been undefinable. I don't even know how to rank it or put a number on it. You helped me see with clarity where I could be and why not. I always thought I'd be in HR, but you said, why not? Why would you not want to do that? Or why would you want to do that? And you helped me explore it, which is what a great coach does for those that have been listening to us and trying to identify those things that can really help us excel. And I've been in a fortunate city that really puts focus on developing your people. So one, I'm grateful for that. And I'm thankful for those who've surrounded me. I'm thankful for the Tom Harts of the world, right? That brought vision and taught me what culture looks like to be in a healthy, exceptional culture. I'm proud of that. And then you've got Bill and I who've come up through the organization, and what I think we're one of the last dinosaurs. You just don't see people staying 26 and 27 years anywhere anymore. So it's exciting for me to, at this point in my career, where many could say, you've built a home in Oklahoma, you're going to be doing this, you're going to be retiring, that there's still validity in what I can continue to do and the impact and influence I can continue to have, hopefully on others in a different way now, and continue to grow myself. And I'm really, really excited about that. And this new journey that I'm on now, it's learning about 4 other departments that I know really nothing about, and learning a different way and how to serve them, which is why I'm meeting with them next. Like I've been doing that today, and tomorrow is where I'm sitting with them. What do they need from me? How can I best serve them? Tell me about your department. Tell me about your people. It's really trying to understand those things.
But this is where your curiosity is going to really, I'll go ahead and make a prediction. Your humility and your curiosity, the fact that you're not knee deep familiar with these other departments, is going to benefit you and them and the city, because that curiosity is going to drive you to ask all the questions that maybe haven't been being asked, but could be super beneficial. One of the takeaways, and as you were talking to me, is, and I will tell young people this, and if you're new, if you're a grad student in this arena, or if you are looking for a job, if your first job or your 10th job, pick your boss. Pick your boss. The people that you work for are so critical to a career in this space from where I sit. So Lisa and I have this podcast, and I started this podcast a long, long time ago. It had a leadership bent, and as my career morphed and changed to where the focus was on city government leadership, I wanted to rebrand it, and I wanted to change the focus and go pot committed to city government leadership. And so invited Lisa to be, my equal, my co-host here. And as I've looked at that space, it's a space where you do need permission. We can start this podcast, and Lisa and I we don't need any broadcast medium to hire us. We don't need anybody to give us permission. We don't need anybody to say yes. We just launch it and we just go. We can put it on YouTube. We can put it on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and iHeartRadio and all the rest of the places where it currently exists. And we didn't have to ask anybody. But those of you that are working in city government, that's not the case. You need permission. You need somebody to say yes to you. And if you're going to get somebody to say yes to you, if you're going to get a quality person to say yes to you, somebody that you're going to want to work for, who will do for you what Lisa's bosses and leaders have done for her, then you're going to have to be ready to answer the call and be focused on them. You can't approach this. I don't see how you could approach it any other way. In the last 2 weeks or so, what are some takeaways that pop into your head? And I don't mean things that came up. They came to fruition in the last few weeks. But these are seeds, and these are little things that you've been growing, and things that were planted a long, long time ago.
Well, I don't know if it's going to directly answer your question, but one thing I can tell you that's been evident is how important, you and I have talked about how important relationships are. Everyone, because I had a trust in our leadership team. And if I'm not getting to where you want to go, certainly re-ask me, Randy. But one of the things I've found that it's always become evident but I've been with my team, how important relationships are with my managers, with my teammates, with my peers as directors. But when you're elevated now to a role where I'm leading 4 of those directors I've worked with, how important relationships have been, that those are strong and solid, because now I'm in a different role and I'm in a different perspective, that just having known them, we've worked on personnel issues together. I kind of know how they work. but now I get to see it in another light. And Cheryl has taught me so much because she had lunches with us as directors to just get us talking, because we otherwise don't really interact. I mean, you've
Right.
got airport director, you've got the uptown manager and the downtown manager and things that I wouldn't normally see. But she put us together on a quarterly basis just to have lunch, like just to the value in that has come to light from those is definitely something I'll carry on. But you don't realize it. You think, okay, we're just getting together for lunch as a team.
Right.
But now that I'm having to lead them, I'm like, the insight I gained from those lunches of just interacting with them on a non-work basis is going to be valuable, at least to start a different level of relationship. Right.
Mhm.
You see how you always tell people you need to know people outside of work, not just doing business. And I've seen that because we know so many times we talked about we get focused on what needs to get done in the day. And sometimes you lose sight of relationships. You're focused on the task at hand that your team needs to get done, that you need to get done. And that's been one key area. I just immediately was like, man, I'm glad Cheryl put us together. That has had so much value now that I know at least a little bit of what's on their plate and the value, because they talked about it. I can see what is important to them. I can see what they're most proud about. I've learned their interests, that it gives me something to talk about. That's one area. The second area is just I've always had a belief system that things happen as they're meant to be. And, there can be discouragement and disappointment. And man, this was just unexpected. It just always tells you never know what life's got in front of you, and just do the best you can do every day and do it well. And the right people and the right opportunities will present themselves when it's your right time. It's all about timing. It may not be the right time today, but it wasn't the right time 3 months ago when Steve talked to me, and there was it's probably been longer than that, maybe 5 months ago. I shared that with somebody recently, that he said, man, I know you've been wanting this, but it's just not the right time. I need this skill set. I could have really walked away from that just being devastated because I so badly wanted it. But my response was, I trust you. I trust you to know what is best for this city and best for this team at this time. And I have no regrets, and I think so much of that, not just speaking to me, but so many people I've dealt with through difficulties, how you handle yourself says so much, right? It's important. And those things stand out to me. And I hope I was one that handled it with grace as well, because I believed it. I did believe they'd made the right decision at the right time. Although I really wanted that, it just wasn't good timing for me, but this was great timing. So there was a better result in my future.
Right.
I just had to wait for it.
Well, and you've got respect for those decision makers who are tasked with that. So at that particular time, Steve, tasked with the decision, you're wise enough and experienced enough and have enough insight and wisdom to know that there are other variables there that may or may not have anything to do with you.
And I may or may not know about, and shouldn't know about, right? None of us know.
Well, the interesting thing to me is how people want to look back and think, man, I wish I would have gotten that. And in our head, we always play that out in its best case scenario. Mm-hmm. But it could be that it could go horribly south, and it could be something from which you'd have a really hard time recovering. I've just seen too many people who have aspired to get into, a CMO arena, and fit is everything. It's just everything, whether you're wired a particular way in a city or a culture or a department are just so not wired that way. And they could say yes to you and you could just be colossally miserable.
Right.
And I've seen it. You've seen it. Well, let's talk a little bit. We don't want to overstay our welcome here today. We just kind of wanted to update everybody on things from an outside. So you talked about the internal relationships. What about the external relationships? Those relationships where news has gotten out, or has it? I assume word has gotten out, and you've heard from some people people that don't have any dog in the hunt other than the fact that they have a relationship with you. So what's that
Well,
been
it'll
like?
be interesting because it was just announced on Monday. So if they
Okay.
hadn't heard about it, they are hearing about it now.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we expect your emails to blow up now and your
That's
text
right.
messages.
That's right. So, I honestly haven't heard too much from the outside, but I had also not publicly announced it on LinkedIn or anything yet
Right.
either. It's
Yeah.
been, as you can imagine, a whirlwind of me just trying
Yeah,
to,
of course.
I'm now trying to navigate like so many people. I've got to be a dual role of HR director for a little bit and
Yeah.
managing director over 4 departments and getting to know them and making sure I'm balancing what that role looks like and is appropriate for that. So I'm leaning heavily on Cheryl, my deputy city manager, on Megan, who's our other deputy city manager, but it was slash city attorney as well.
Right.
Getting wisdom from them on here's what I plan to do. Here's what I am doing. And then there was another director also elevated, just like me, who I absolutely respect and am so excited to serve next to, because I met with him the first day and said, man, I am so excited just to lean on you for wisdom and insight. He's an engineer. And we've gone to lunch and stuff together as well as peers. And so I said, I'm so excited to just lean on you for knowledge and wisdom and insight and to teach me on things I don't know about, to help me understand the questions I have on areas that are new to me. And he said, that's funny. That's the same thing I was going to tell you.
Right.
So I'm so as far as external, haven't
Mhm.
experienced that too much yet, but I also haven't announced it because it's just
Yeah.
in the last 24 hours, I've been
Sure.
trying to figure out what I need, what are my tasks that I need to get done to integrate quickly with the directors I'll be leading so that I can support them as quickly as possible. Because we have council meetings coming up. I need to know what's on the plate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
So
you got a whole
externally,
lot.
I haven't seen it as much.
Yeah.
I think I called you. I called one of my former directors, that served, assistant directors that served here. I called her immediately. Told, of course, my family and my friends and swore to them to secrecy until it was announced on Monday.
Mhm.
Told them over the weekend. And all of this in light of, many don't know, and we'll talk about it at another time as we peel that onion back, but all of this while my dad had a stroke and passed in a matter of a few days, 5 or 6 days. And he's had Alzheimer's and was otherwise completely healthy. I've had a sick mother, but I was out with him, having to make calls on hospice, having to make the call for the family because my mom just could not do it. And I'm the
Yeah.
medical power of attorney. So a lot with life, giving you a hurdle like that and an unexpected, tragic, in my opinion, he was otherwise healthy.
Yeah.
And then giving me this, I'm blessed, right? That through some grave sadness, that I've had an opportunity to find joy as well, almost simultaneously, right?
Yeah, and as real as you and I roll on this show, and just in life in general, Lisa and I we're going to do a show. We're planning a show on adversity, and of course, she can speak directly to it, having now buried her father, and then lo and behold, the sun starts shining, through
That's
all the
right.
darkness of the clouds. And I don't know. I mean, everybody can derive whatever lessons they want from that. If you think everybody is living some better life than you're living, they're not. They're not. We've all got struggles. We've all got pain and sorrow. But you and I we're still going to preach the optimism and still
That's right.
try to shine a bright light on it. I think life is largely what we make of it. So, man, I'm super proud of you and happy for you and your family and the city. I think Grand Prairie is better for this change and these additions to the roster. And we haven't even talked about your team, and I'm sure there were people that were disappointed in you now no longer being their immediate kind of leader, but knowing
speaking of
them,
adversity.
everybody's got to be deep down, everybody's got to be super happy for you,
Yeah,
even
it's
if
so
they're
much of it.
disappointed for themselves.
Sure. And it's so much of it, Randy, as we move through this. My main message to our listeners, you just don't know what life's got next. You don't know whether it's tragic. You don't know whether it's joy. You don't know what the next day will hold. And as you and I, we just try to live for today and enjoy today and not focus on regrets and focus on anguish, but my goal is to find joy in the moments that I can. And to continue, like we've said, just continue to serve well, whether it's my family, it's my staff, and each day brings new challenges and each day brings new joy. And you have to just continue to move through them the best you know how and surround yourself with good people, because good people like you, like Cheryl, that help you see the light and see the strength and see the joy and overcome the challenges and the hurdles. That's what helps each one of us thrive, is good people in our lives that help guide us in a positive way.
Thanks for watching and listening to Grow Great, a city government leadership podcast. For Lisa Norris, I'm Randy Cantrell. Be well, do good, grow great. The website is growgreat.com.